Hey guys, okay, so black people have had enough, and of course, any person of color, but really, of course, black people in general, okay? Black people altogether, African Americans. The reason why is because, well, everything's pretty much self explanatory. Black people have gone through the most trauma in history than any other race, okay? Forget the Holocaust, forget, but we will remember them. They have been through something, but no one's been through more trauma than African Americans than black people. Okay, black people are now starting to realize that they were the first race here on earth, and they were brought to America from Africa. And yes, other blacks lived in other parts of the world, but the people who were here first were us. And when we look at Egypt and we look at these ancient statues and we look at our history, we ruled the land. And some of us were invaded by certain people, which were the Caucasians. And over the years, things have gone by and people have lost some of their history because they were taught by an American system about what the American system wanted us to learn. Now, yes, we did learn some things about African Americans in history and so on and so on, but we mainly learned more about white American history, and let's just be honest. And more people are starting to realize now that the reasons why people turn to, let's say, witchcraft, they say that witchcraft was bad, and they say that it was evil, but really it was used by slaves who wanted to find a different type of way to get the racist Caucasians out of them, out of their way, so that they will no longer abuse them. So it was no longer for to be viewed as bad, it was to be viewed as a protection, because they sat and they prayed and they asked God for help. And sometimes they saw a change. But what happens when a slave is being beat and their children are being raped and their families are being killed, and they're praying to God and praying to God and they don't see any changes, and then they decide to do something like witchcraft related, and the next thing you know, they find freedom, like Harriet Tubman, So Harriet Tubman, she believed in God, she prayed, she sang gospel, but at a point in time, that wasn't working for her, and she had to do the complete opposite. So basically, witchcraft is nothing but doing the complete opposite of what someone expecting you to do. They expected Harriet to go do run a route and bring certain things back and go back and forth. But while she was doing it, she did a complete opposite, and she freed the slaves. And that was looked at as witchcraft to the Caucasian people, but really, it wasn't a bad thing, because she saved so many people from dying or from being sick or getting hurt. She saved them. But the Caucasians will say that it's evil just because it's not abiding by their rules. But their rules that they want people to abide by are causing people to die, be hungry, and be sick and not be well, So, and be enslaved, not have a normal family, not have freedom. So that is the reason why, black people are starting to wake up and say, hey, so should we all do the complete opposite and not stand on our feet for hours at work and take our money because it's ours, and take over this entire world because it's ours, and do not let them, the Caucasian people, take over and rule us any longer? Yes. Or will we be viewed as bad? They've already done it. They said if we tried to take over the judicial system, we try to take over the government, we try to take over, the people who are trying to keep us in poverty, we can't drive the nice cars and until we go make this certain amount of money, or we cannot get this big house unless we make this certain amount of money, or things like that. Well, they're going to say that, we don't pay our taxes, we're going to jail, or if we do this, we're going to jail, or but look at everything that they've stolen from us, and now some of us are in a position to go out there and rob, or go out there and commit murders to our own kind of people. Don't commit murder to your own people. No, for God's sakes. The reason why you're doing that is because you don't have something and you're trying to get something. And if you had everything you wanted, you would not be in a position to try to harm anyone, because you will be living your best life. And the reason why you aren't living your best life is because you don't have something, and you should have something. And you may not have everything that you want and need because of the white man's already got it. That is the reason why it is very important to not at all accept what they are giving you and take action. And this is a call for justice, because we are the ones that need to put this in action. There should not be any Caucasian person in the judicial system, not in government. There shouldn't be anyone ruling. There shouldn't be any Caucasian person owning anything. There should just be all black, because it's ours. Now, I do understand that some Caucasians have a little bit of this in their DNA, but most of the time they're outnumbered by the Caucasians percentage. And if your skin is not black, then you should know that you're pretty much powerless, because the main power are in the black people. And this is why they say, what will Caucasians be without black people to build this land, to make this world move around? What would this world be? So they have the right to be upset, because I would too if I was Caucasian. But I would not try to take innocent people and make them slaves when they are the ones that are making you rich and giving you money and things like that. So now, because it's a power shift, things have changed, and everything is back to the black person, and it should have been that way for a very long time. But the true gods and the people that were here ruling this land were already here, and things were unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. And back in 1988, before I was even born, I was born in 92, but and even in the 90s, African Americans were getting their power back then, and it was really funny, because people was just now starting to wake people up, and more people who were involved in, people who were black, knew their history and knew what time the gods were going to be taking over and when things were actually going to be happening in order for us to have our power back. And that is the reason why I said it's very important for people to wake up and understand that this is our land. This is our place. Everything belongs to us. So if anything, we're not going to try to enslave anyone. We're just trying to make everything better, because we know how to make everything better. And by doing that is by making sure everyone has a place to live, everyone is not struggling for this, everyone is healthy. But it was hard for the Caucasians to do that, and so now this is why you see more vegan foods being pushed, and this is why you see more people getting stimulus and more people getting unemployment, because they're releasing the money that should have been released before, and people were working so hard and not seeing anything. And now people are making more money off of unemployment and stimulus than they would if they were working a regular job. You see, and that was the issue. It should have been that way. So the main thing is to continue with this process, and now we're going to get reparations, and that's going to make everything a whole lot easier. See?